Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where with some trepidation I'm going to attempt a new puzzle for you by the great constructor Qodec. This is called Runway, and lots of you have written in and said, well, actually, I'll be completely honest with you, we've had this requested a lot, but nobody's been able to do it. And I love Qodec's puzzles, so I'm going to try. I'm going to try and have a go and see if I can get it done. And I'm absolutely confident it will be a brilliant puzzle. Not only, I mean, it's because it's by Qodec. I mean, it's basically a seal of approval. When Qodec puts his name to something, you know it's going to be an amazing puzzle. But if you look on Logic Masters Germany, there are some comments from the wise folk who have solved it, suggesting this is something of a masterpiece. It's got a very interesting idea behind it. The killer cages here, you can see they're sort of less than or equal to. So we look at this square, it's one cell and it's less than or equal to 8. So literally all this cell is telling us is that digit is not a 9 in the solution. It's weird, isn't it? It's absolutely weird. Apparently it's fully 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty. Certainly the comments suggest that many hours have been devoted to this and without much success. But I'm going to have a go. I'm really looking forward to it, and I don't have much news for you today. I will simply wish Jim, over there in Las Vegas of all places, a very happy birthday. And this is from your wife, Veronica. And Jim, I hope you have an amazing chocolate cake to celebrate today. Just those words, Las and Vegas together, takes me back. I have been to Vegas many times in my life. I have always had an absolute blast. It's one of those places in the world where there is always something to do. One of my favourite spots there is the Pinball Museum, which which I admit is probably not the main attraction most people go for, but it's one of the reasons I like going. Anyway, that's that. Is there anything else to say? I don't think so. I don't think there is really. So why don't we just kick straight into the puzzle? I'm well aware in recording this that I may have to do another video because this might be one that I get very badly stuck on, but let's see. It's these are the rules of Runway by Qodec. Here we go. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, column, and 3 by 3 box. These normal arrows, digits along an arrow sum to the digit in the attached circle. So those two squares add up to that number. So if this was 3 and this was 4, 3 plus 4 equals 7. You write 7 into that square. Maximum killer cages, so an area, okay, yeah, there's stuff that defining what a cage is, but I think we all can see what cages are. Digits in a cage cannot repeat, and if a number is given in the upper left corner of a cage, the digits in that cage sum to that number or less. So that's why we've got sort of these inequality, and we don't have anything in these, so these are only here to say that we can't repeat a digit. So that digit there can't appear, let's just give it a colour, that digit there can't appear in those squares. So by Sudoku it obviously couldn't appear in those squares, but also it can't appear in these squares, is what we're being told. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I can write 1, 2, 3 or 4 in there. Oh, okay, so it must be these, is it? So we've got, each of these is a 3-cell arrow. So the minimum we can put into those squares is 1, 2, and 3. So each of these circles is 6 at least. Okay. What on earth? I don't know actually. That's very strange. Is this set or something? I'm just wondering because it's one of these situations where there is nothing in this grid at all. I don't think it can be set though. We've got, if we try and put the arrows in a different set to the The thing is, we don't know what that total is. Let me just have a quick look at this. So we could get rid of the, we get a massive cancellation that way. Oh, okay. No, that is clear. Right. That's beautiful. That's really weird and beautiful. Okay. So it is set. So let me just explain what I was doing there. We looked at this a day or so ago in Ard van der Wetering's puzzle, which was called Mission Impossible 2. So all I'm seeing here is that I can define these purple cells. I can define the contents of those purple cells absolutely precisely, because this is 2 complete columns of the Sudoku, isn't it? So these cells in total will definitely contain 2 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now, I then highlighted those squares as an equivalent set, because those 2 complete rows of the Sudoku must also contain 2 sets of the digits 1 to 9. So at this point, we can say that the cells in the green set and the cells in the purple set are the same. They are the same collection of digits. Now, that means if we were to remove this cell from the green and the purple set, what could we say about what's left in the green and the purple set now? Well, what we can say is that these sets had the same contents before we took the same thing out of both. So they're still the same. Still, what remains in green is going to be identical to what remains in purple. And we can do that for those squares as well. But when you get arrows, there's a little rinky-dink. Then we saw exactly this the other day. So we've agreed, hopefully we've agreed, that what remains in green is exactly the same collection of cells as what remains, or collection of digits as what remains in purple. So if we were to sum all the digits in purple, and we were to sum all the digits in green, we would get the same total. Now, that allows us to play games with the arrows, because if we took those 2 cells out of purple, and we took that cell out of green, given that the 2 things summed to the same thing before we did that, and we know that by arrow logic these 2 sum to this, we're removing the same sum from both sets. We no longer have the same number of digits in both sets, because we're taking 2 digits out of purple and only 1 out of green. But we know that the remaining total of the remaining green must be the same as the total for the remaining purple. Now we can do that, we can do that, we can do that, and we can do that. And now, all of a sudden, it's quite a dramatic sort of reduction, isn't it, in terms of how these sets look. But this is where this one comes into its own, because these digits here are all different from one another. That's what this cage is telling us. So what's the absolute minimum sum of that cage? Well, if we filled it with the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, triangular number for 8 is 36. Let's minimize these as well. So that would be a 1, 2 pair. So the absolute minimum I can make those 10 cells add up to, the absolute minimum, if I minimize everything I possibly can, is 39. Now, what's the absolute maximum I can make those squares add up to? Well, that would be if I filled them with 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and 4. And that they add up to 39. And one way to see that would be using a secret. You don't have to do the maths particularly. A secret I share with only my very favourite people. And don't worry, if you're watching this video, you're definitely one of my favourite people. But the secret is that a complete box of a Sudoku, the numbers 1 to 9 sum to 45. So you actually only have to think about minimizing these digits with 1, 2 and 3, adding up to 6. And then 45 minus 6 is 39. So it's the same sort of thing, but it's slightly easier to see the maths. So what we're actually learning straight away is that this is a 1, 2 pair. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple. This is very small. Well, when I say very small, it can't have 1, 2 or 3 in it. So it must have 4 in it. It must do. And it's either got 5 or 6 in it. to partner up with the 4, because it can't add up to more than 10, so it needs a 4 in it, otherwise 5 plus 6 is too many. So these squares, they definitely include 7, 8 and 9. And this, well, this is a start, isn't it? But I'm telling you this, some of the emails we got were from very good solvers, and there's no way they didn't spot that. So this is not going to be the end of the story. Let me just think. There's no 9 in here, is there? Because what we said was that to construct a green total of only 39, I had to not put 9 in there. That means there are 2 9s, because each of row 3 and row 4 has a 9 in it, and green has no 9s in it. The 9s must inhabit those cells. But that's not very surprising, because we could sort of X-wing 9s. Well, having a 9 in a circle of an arrow is a very natural place to have a 9. That can't be a 4 anymore, which is of potential interest. Do we know more about... Yes, there you go. There's something. Neither of these circles can be 6 anymore. Because if we do put 6, we have to put a 1, 2, 3 triple on the arrow, and that will definitely break that square. So these are 7s, 8s and 9s now. Which is of potential interest. 7, 8, 9. Yes, okay. I don't know what that's doing. These 2 digits have to find a home in row 7. So those 2 digits there have to be there, I think, because they can't be as low as these digits. So these squares are 7, 8 and 9. So, goodness me. What do we do now then? So these add up to at least 15. Because this is at least a 7, 8 pair. Those digits would all be different. These digits would all be different. Oh, I'm not sure. How do we make any more progress? We're not pencil marking that digit. That is for sure. We've got a 1, 2 pair here. So these squares are at least a 3, 4 pair on the arrows. Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot see what to do now. What else have we got here? We've got less than or equal to 18. Less than or equal to 9. Again, that feels totally useless. Less than or equal to 9 in 3 cells. It might be something to do with low digits in this area of the grid. Because a 9, even if that is a maxed out 9, 9 in 3 digits has to have 2 of the digits 1, 2 and 3 on it. And you can see that because imagine you only had 1 of the digits 1, 2 and 3. And you made that digit as small as you could. And then you made the 2 digits that weren't 1s, 2s or 3s as small as you could. Then the minimum would be a 1, 4, 5 triple. 1, 4 and 5 add up to 10. So you must have 2 of the digits 1, 2 and 3 in here. You must have... The same is true on these arrows. So, okay. So actually, those squares in the bottom two rows contain all the low digits. So that, there you go. Right, that's useful. Right. So because these squares here, because there must be two low digits on there, and there must be two low digits on here, and there are two low digits here, that's 6 low digits. 6 of the digits 1, 2, and 3 are in those 8 squares, actually. That might be worth thinking about, apart from the point I was about to make, which is that means this square is not a 1, 2, or a 3. Now that's fascinating, because what you can't do in a total that adds up to 9 or less is have a digit higher than a 6. Because if you do, imagine this was a 7. These could be a 1, 2 pair, for example, and that would add up to 10, which is more than 9. There's a knowledge bomb for you. So this digit is 4, 5, or 6. And these two digits are 1s, 2s, and 3s. And now I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in row 7. And that doesn't seem to do anything. Oh dear, that's a shame, isn't it? This cell felt designed. That cell being high, or higher than 1, 2, or 3, felt designed. Okay, so the maximum size of these is 17. So there has to be something going on with the number of low digits here. There are 4 low digits in there. So there must be a repeated low digit in here, a repeated 1, 2, or 3. No, there can't be 2 repeats. Yeah, that's got to be right, hasn't it? Because if there were 2 repeats, wouldn't they be the same digit? Let me just think about that. I think that's right. So what we've worked out is that this collection of 6 cells contains 4 of the digits 1s, 2s, and 3s. Now, let's say there were 2 repeats. So let's say 1 and 2 repeated in these sections. Then these couldn't be 1 and 2, and they'd both be 3. So that doesn't work. So there is only 1 repeated digit here of the digits 1, 2, and 3. So it's either 1, 2, 3, and a 1, or 1, 2, 3, and a 2, or 1, 2, 3, and a 3. That's so sorry, that's me being totally inept. And then there are 2 other digits that are at least 4 and 5, aren't there? Yes, so we must have the digits 1, 2, and 3. They add up to... Okay, so this is the minimum. Yes, I've got it. Well, I've got something. So the minimum of those 6 digits now we've worked out, because they have to contain 1 repeat only, they have to have a 1, 2, and a 3 in them. They add up to 6. Now there's going to be 1 other low digit as well, but let's forget about that for a moment. The minimum of the other 2 digits that are not the 1, 2, 3 and the repeat in here are 4 and 5. So now we're on a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Triangular number for 5 is 15, plus whatever the repeated digit is. Now there's loads of things that reveals. The first thing it reveals is that because even if the repeated digit is a 1, the absolute minimum total of these is now 16. So one of these is a 9. So one of these is a 9. That's the first thing it reveals. The other thing it reveals is that the repeated digit in here is not a 3. Because if it was a 3, we would be up to at least an 18 total. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, repeated 3, so those add up to 9 now, plus a minimum of a 4 and a 5, 18. I can't make these add up to 18. So there's a repeated 1 or 2 in here, and that goes there by Sudoku. because the repeated digit is going to be in that 2 by 2 and there. So one of these is a 3. Ah, hang on, be careful, Simon. Be careful. I'm wrong. I need to go back. I've had a different thought. Yeah, I'm not sure. What about if I had a repeated 1 and a repeated 4? I didn't think of that. Right, let's do the maths on that then. So I'd have a 1, 2, a 3, which is 6. Another 1 is 7. And then 2 4s. And that would be, I'd be adding 8. That would work. And that might work. Hang on, I've put 5 in there, but there's a 4 in one of those squares, isn't there? That's what we worked out earlier. And that actually makes me think it's going to be right. Bother. Well, okay, that's still something. But it's not as good as if we knew one of these was a 9. Oh, I've got to be really careful with this. The possibility of repeated digits, or 2 repeated digits. You definitely can only have 1 low repeated digit. Okay. So how on earth are we going to get to grips with this then? So is it still true to say, is it even true to say there has to be a repeated 1 or 2 there now? That still is true, isn't it? Yeah, because otherwise, if there was a repeated 3... No, I'm wrong again. I keep missing this possibility that the extra digits in here that aren't the 1s, 2s and 3s could be a repeated 4. So that would put a 4 here, a 4 in one of these. By Sudoku there would be a 4 here, and that looks absolutely fine, doesn't it? Right, so it's much more complicated than I first appreciated. Botheration. Okay, I don't know therefore what to think next. What should we do next? 9 double 4. So it'd have 2. If I have I don't know, sorry. One of these then, what have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3. So these squares are high digits in the sense they can't be 1s, 2s, 3s, and they can't be the 4 that lives in here. So these are from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's just put that in case it looks like we're trying to go towards some sort of quintuple in this box, doesn't it? Okay, well, I'm not surprised. This is hard. I mean, I knew it was going to be hard from the comments that we've had, but it's obviously it is a lot more difficult. We got off to a start, but now I've just ground to a halt. So how do we do this? We could maybe we can disprove this being high then. No, the pressure is all on the low side. It's surely on the low side. Is that digit somehow relevant to this? I've got 1 repeated low digit in here. And that's the same as this digit. Now, hang on. Yeah, okay. That logic is correct because that doesn't come out of the double 4 logic. That came out of the fact that on any 3-cell arrow you must have 2 low digits or the total for the arrow will be 10. So there are 2 low digits here, there are 2 low digits here, and there are only 3 low digits. So there is a repeated low digit. And if the repeated low digit was 3, then we're on 9 for the 4 low digits. But we can double 4 it. And that's fine. In fact, it's not only fine, it might be correct. I can't use these for anything, can I? These tips are at least 3 and 4. Oh, Qodec, what have you done here? How am I meant to think about this? I don't know. Let me try. I am trying, I promise. I'm trying to think about it. If either of these was a 1, the arrow over here, imagine this was a 1, this would have to be a 2, 3, 4 adding to 9. And that would make one of these a 9, which would mean the minimum sum was then 16. And there is a repeat, isn't there? So either this one or this one appears on the other arrow. That's one thing that is true. And then that digit, because it will be a 1, 2 or a 3 that's repeating, that digit will end up here. That's still true. But it could be any of them. It doesn't have to be a low digit. It could be a 3. Provided, but it only be a 3 if we double 4 these arrows. So then, yeah, and that would give us an 8, 9 pair here, which looks very good actually. One of the arrows would be 1, 3, 4. The other would be 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that would work. And then I'd have a 1 and a 2 here. 1, 1 and 1, 2 on these arrows, which couldn't go here, but that doesn't matter. And everything would work. And that feels quite likely. It's not to do with this, is it then? Maybe it's something to do with this. I know that or maybe it's this 9 point. There are 9s over here, aren't there? This little area here, let's make it light green to indicate it's very similar in quality to this, but slightly different. So these contain the digits 1 to 8. So these 2 digits get repeated in there. So that one has to be in one of those 3, and that one has to be in one of those 3. We can't put both of them in column 9 because that would clash with these. And these digits, we know exactly what these digits are, which is slightly strange, isn't it? These digits are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, double 9. Yes, okay, so let's think about these 2 columns then again. Because what we know is that this 2 by 2 here contains no 1s and no 2s, because we've got a 1 and a 2 there, and then we've got a 1 and a 2 in there. So that's all the 1s and 2s for row 3 and row 4. So there's no 1s and 2s here. There's no 1s and 2s here. So there must be a 1 and a 2 on this arrow cross, and there must be a 1 and a 2 on that arrow cross. So each of these 2 by 2s has a 1 and a 2 on it, but we don't know if they're on the same arrow. If they were on the same arrow, one of these would have to be a 3. that might be fine. I don't know. I know one of these is a low digit. No, that's not. Ah, be very careful, Simon. That's not true. That's not true. Yeah, I've got to be very careful with that deduction. Or what I actually know is that there are 4 low digits in here and 1 repeat. So 1 at least must be on this side in order that it can repeat in this box. And that one can't be the repeater. And that one can't be the repeater. This is the repeater. That's the repeater. So that digit there, let's give it a name. That digit A, because there is a low digit that is here and here, because it repeats in this collection. This one, let's call that B. That can't repeat because it can't be in that 2 by 2. That one can't repeat. Let's call that C, A, B, and C, because it can't appear here. So the only digit that can repeat is A. A appears here. A appears here. But that doesn't mean, I don't think that means anyway, that B couldn't appear here. We just have to make sure that B and... oh, hang on. In fact, is that a way to think about this? I know. Yeah, sorry, this is obvious, isn't it? It's obvious when you think about it in this weird way. Because there is 1 repeat on here, and I've worked out that is A. Ah, so maybe... yeah, and there must be... B and C must be on here, because we know the only 4 low digits that aren't these two are on these arrows. So B must be here. This is an AB pair. And C must be here. So these 2 digits are from 1, 2, and 3. It's just been obvious for ages. I'm so sorry if it has. This is an AB pair, which is these 2 digits. A and C form some congregation here. Oh, this is really important. There's definitely a way of seeing this differently. There is, I'm sure there is. My brain, I think it's short-circuited. Qodec, you've caused short-circuiting of my brain, you naughty person. But look now, where did those digits go in this box? They can't go there. So they have... Alright, so let's get rid of some of this colouring now. I might keep that green thing in. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to keep that green thing in, because that green thing is still has an unusual constraint in it, in the sense that it has no 9s. But this is the same as that. And there's a 4 in there, so there's a 4 in here. If this was a 4... Now, see, we don't know this adds up to 9. It just looks like it might do, because that's what Qodec's put the clue to be. But that digit in the corner is 4, 5, or 6. But yeah, the thing I was thinking, which is the thing that I've been very worried about with this collection, is I can't now repeat the 4 on the arrows, because I can't put 4 in those 2 squares anymore. So I can't have 4 here and 4 here. So if there's no possibility of double 4, I don't think I can repeat a 3. That might be wrong. Let's check the maths on that again. So if here was double 3, 1, and 2 as the low digits, which is 9, yeah, and then 4 and 5, because that's the minimum I could have here as my 2 extra digits. I can't repeat anything else. That's too many, that's 18. So there is no repeated 3. So we go back to this position where this digit, which is A, which is one of these 2 squares, is jolly low. Now the corollary of that, though, is in the other thing that's interesting about that is that because I can't repeat 4 anymore, now the minimum sum of the 5 digits that don't repeat in this sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, plus 1 is 16, and that means there is a 9 in here, and that means there is a 9 in here. And that means these squares are not 9. And that means, well, okay, that does mean something. That, oh, hang on. No. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. What I was thinking was there's no 9s in here. That's still true. And there's certainly no 9s on arrows. So there is a 9 in here. Does that have to be 9? Is that what we're being told? I think there has to be 9 in the 18 cage as well. Oh, this is confusing me. Yeah, because what I'm thinking is, if we take columns 6 and 7 as together and ask how many 9s are in columns 6 and 7, well, there's 1 9 in column 6 and 1 9 in column 7, so there are 2 9s. Now, there are no 9s in there and no 9s in there, and you can't have more than 1 9 in a cage, and there's only 2 cages left, so there is a 9 up here. There is a 9 in here. Now, I want it to be here. Oh, no, it's not there. Oh, that's weird. Right. This is not a 9. This is not a 9. Let me show you why it's bizarre. It's nothing to do with what we were just talking about. It's to do with box 6, actually. Now, if we put 9 here, you can't put 9 here because it would repeat in this cage. So it's not there. We know there's no 9 in green. This cage adds up to less than 9. Sorry, oh, it's equal to 9, so if I put 9 in it and a 1, it's broken the bank. So there's no 9 in that cage, and there's a 9 in one of those, so the 9 can't go there, and it's obviously not equal to 1, 2, and 3. There's just nowhere for 9 in this box. So this is not 9. Is this my first digit? This is my first digit. This is a 9 in the puzzle. And actually, that was exceptionally hard to find, in my opinion. Well, but now, it's still true there's a 9 up here. It's still true there's a 9 in here. Yeah, I could have got this a different way. No, right, what I should have done is look at the 9 here vertically. And if I studied this, if we just come to box 6, in fact, and just go, where's 9 in it? It's there, and that would have been much simpler. So there's a 9 up here. Well, that's quite interesting. So the 9 is not on the right hand side of the 18 cage. There's a 9 in one of those squares. There's a 9 in one of these squares. That means there's a 9 in one of those squares. A 9 in one of these 3 squares. By that fair weather friend Sudoku. Oh, wait a second. No. I was going to say where's 9 in row 3. It can't be here anymore, but I think that's as good as we get. I know that's not a 9. This cage has intrigued me ever since I first saw it. That is not a 9. What is that there for? So that none of those squares can be 9. If that was a 9, that would place 9 in box 4. If that is not a 9, then what on earth I bet this is a 9 in the puzzle. Because otherwise, you know, if this wasn't a 9, the 9 would always be up here, and it could never have been in here, and that just feels like it's doing nothing. Right, okay. What do we do now then? So now is it? It's going to be something to do with this cage now. I think it's going to be something to do with that cage, because that's got a 9 in it now, and it adds up to no more than 18, which means it's subject to all of these things that we've already found, i.e. it's got 2 low digits in it. At least it could have 3 low digits in it. If it added up to 15, it would have to be 1, 2 and 3 in here. Okay, so okay, could there be no low digits in this domino? No way. Because one of these is a 9, one of them could be low. That would be only 1 low digit in the cage, and then it would add up to at least 19. So there is at least 1 low digit, 1, 2 or 3 in here, but there can't be more than 1 because I've got 1, 2 and 3 down here. So there is exactly 1 low digit in here, and it's not A or B, it is C, which is that one. So C by Sudoku in box 6 is in one of those 3 squares. Now, but the corollary of that is that this has to have a low digit, because there must be a second low digit in here. In fact, there are only 2 now. Oh, well, does that... No, it doesn't. No, what I was about to say is nonsense. There are only 2 low digits. I can't fit 3 in now, because I can't put 2 here. And this one of these is a 9. So this has got 1 low digit in. One low digit and a 9. Okay, so we might as well pencil mark that. That's 1 low digit and a 9. But I don't think I know... I know it's not C, because C can't repeat in this cage. So it's an A or a B up here. Down here, so A is in one of those 2 squares. So these can't be A. Yeah, that's interesting. So A, yeah, that is interesting. So the digit up here is B, is what we've just learned from that. Because I think this is right, because what we worked out is that A is repeating in here, and our mathematics told us that A had to be a low digit, a 1 or a 2, and it goes there. And then Sudoku tells us these can't be that low digit, so the repeated digit A is in one of those 2 and one of these 2. So A is looking up here, and C is in the cage already, so the low digit in here is B, which is this one. So B, by Sudoku, is in one of these 3 squares. But... I don't know. And one of this digit is a 1, 2 or 3, which is the C digit, this one. And then a digit that can be no more than 6, because we know there's a 9 in this cage, so the other 3 digits add up to no more than 9, and we know in a triple sum adding up to 9 you can't have a 7, because 7 plus 1 plus 2 is 10. We've already thought about that. So there is a middly digit here. There is a middly digit here. And there is a 9 here. And that means means there's a whole package of high digits. I'm not sure that's right, actually. I'm not quite sure about that. Definitely these squares are so it's something to do with high and low. I know what I'm about to say is so ludicrous, but I'll say it. What I was going to say is it's something to do with high and low digits in in the puzzle. Yeah, which I admit covers a lot of possibilities. But it is something to do with that. It's something to do with this cage, I think, and either high or low digits. Because I think I'm very close. I'm not there yet, but I think I'm close to being convinced. Well, actually, hang on. No, it's wrong. Ah, there's something going on here. Do I know that those two digits have to be... Do they have to be there, or is that not true? That's got B. Oh, that's not necessarily B. It looks like it wants to be B, but the B is in one of the... Oh, I don't like that pencil mark, actually, because I was looking at that thinking it had to be B, but actually B was also in this domino, so there's a B triple here. This might be B. If it's B, if that's B, that's B. There's a B up here, buzzing around. C is there and is in one of these three, but again, if C was low, like not 3, it would have... This would be an AC pair. Yes, okay, so if C was a 1 or a 2, then this would be a 1-2 pair. But if C is a 3, then there's nothing to stop 3 being here, I don't think. And then we're thinking, and then we're on the road to madness again, aren't we? So what about that digit then? What do we know about that digit? That digit has to find... Yes, okay. What about this digit? Where is that in this column? That's a fair question. Because this digit can't repeat in its own cage. It's not a 1, 2 or a 3. It's not in this congregation, which we know can't have that really high digit. So it's in one of those two squares. It's in one of those two squares. If it were, and it's one of these two as well, isn't it? So it's there. So if it was there, it would go up here. But if it was there, it would go there. And that would be in a cage that adds up to no more than 9. That would make that low, very low in fact. That would mean, that might mean that's the same as that. But it wouldn't have to necessarily be C, would it, or would it? Not sure. Not sure. Nine. Okay, all right. Here's a different way of asking the same question. Oh, wow, you are a beastly thing. Qodec, you are almost uniquely gifted. It's weird the way your brain works. Look, right. Here is a good question. Here is a good question. Let me just go through this again in my brain. Hang on. I'm just going to do this again. Yeah. Right. I'm going to ask the stark question and then explain how we get to that question. Where are 7 and 8 in column 9 is the question I want to ask. Exactly those two digits. Only those two digits. Where are 7 and 8 in column 9? And at first blush, the answer would be almost anywhere. But that isn't true. That isn't true. Because let's return to not column 9 at all, but to columns 6 and 7 and ask that question. Where are 7s and 8s? Now, we know you can't put 7 and 8 down here. Can't put 7 or 8 on a 3-cell arrow. They won't work. We know there are no 7s and 8s here. Now, let's think about just the digit 7 then to hammer this home. How many 7s can we put in this cage? Well, the answer is 1. I can't put a 7 here and another 7 here. It won't. That's not allowed. So I can put 1 7 there and 1 7 here. Same is true of 8. I can put 1 8 in there and 1 8 in there. And indeed, I must do both of those things. There is no other configuration possible. And that means that this green cage, which has 7 and 8 in it, the 7 and the 8 are locked into those squares in order to allow me to put both 7 and 8 in this column, because I can't put 2 7s in here. And the corollary is also true. I can't put 2 7s here, because that's one cage. So there is 1 7 in here, 1 7 in here, 1 8 in here, 1 8 in here, and there are no 7s and no 8s in there. So now let's ask the question again. Where are 7 and 8 in column 9? Now, I could put one of them up here, but one of these squares is a 9, so I can only put one of them up there, and that means one of them is there. So this is 7 or 8. This is from 7, 8 and 9. This square is low and is 1 or 2. And I think that means it might be that, but I'm not sure about that. Oh. So that digit is in there, and then it's in. It can't be in it can't be in an arrow. Could it be here? That's a question. If it's there, it's also there. I'm not sure. Just not sure. I know there is one of 1, 2 and 3 in there, don't I now? Just looking at this column, look. I've got to put I've got to put a 5 or a 6 in one of those squares, and then a 1, 2 or a 3 as well. Those things are true. So it's 5, 6, 1, 2 or 3. That's such a horrible pencil mark. Honestly, it is. I know, and I know that the low digit here is A or B. It's not C. C is there. C is here. C is here. Oh dear, dear, dear. We're closer, but we aren't there. We're closer, but we are definitely not there, are we? Okay. So now, what do we do next? Can I play these games more? Is there some other way that we can play these games? Not quite, I don't think. I don't think. I'm not sure. But I don't know. Oh, my phone is buzzing at me like crazy. Let me just check. There's nothing. Hopefully, that's nothing important. When you look at your phone, you've got like 8 WhatsApp messages, and you can't see them all in an instant. That's always a bit worrying. Ah, so is that digit the same as that digit now? That might be true. We know this digit. Oh no, well, we knew this digit was in one of those two. That's what got me thinking about this. So if this one and this one are the same, it goes there. No, I'm not sure. Okay, sorry. So can we... Maybe I've got to think harder about the composition of this thing again. Could I have extracted more information from this? I now know... Okay, I now know there's no repeated 4. It's either... What are the options then? Could it have a repeated 2 on it? It can have a repeated 2, surely. Yeah, it can have a repeated 2, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 2 is 17, and that's definitely a possibility. So that's one possibility. Or it could have a repeated 1 and only add to 16 with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as its other digit. Or it could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and a repeated 1, which would make it add up to 17. So the digits in here, so the collection of digits in here are... Oh, come on, Simon. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These can't be 1 or 2. There's no repeated 3. Does this... I keep looking at this thinking it means there's a 3 in there. It doesn't mean that at all. These are 2 of the digits. One of these is a low digit, like a 1 or a 2. That's definitely true. But okay, hang on. Let me think about this. Let me think about this. Oh dear, dear, dear. There's no repeated 3. So if I did put a 3 here, I couldn't have a 3 in any of those. I know, okay. I know that, okay, alright. Alright, I've got something. It's very mild, but I've got something. These 6 digits, what we've worked out is they definitely include a 1 and a 2, definitely. I mean, look, we can see that easily. If we go double 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, for example, that's going to add up to about 1 million. At least. I think it adds up to 20, but it's way, way too many. So there's definitely a 1 and a 2. Now that 1 and 2 have to sit within that 2 by 2. That is true. But there is also a repeat of one of those digits, 1 or 2. And that means this 2 by 2 here, very specifically this 2 by 2, contains 3 1s and 2s. If we view 1 and 2 as a unit, it's got 3 of them, because there's no 1s and 2s here, but this collection of 6 digits contains 3. It doesn't, yeah, and it doesn't contain 4. It doesn't contain a 1, 2 pair pair twice because we've worked out there's only one repeat, because if there were two repeats that digit would have to be a 1 and a 2 simultaneously, and even Qodec hasn't gone there in this puzzle. So there are exactly 3 digits from 1 and 2 here. There are exactly 3 from 1 and 2. There might also be a 3, but let's gloss over that for a moment. Right, so that means there is a 3 in my 18 cage. Definitely. Because remember, up here in this cage, there are 2 Oh, I almost had a clever thought then, but I don't think it works. In this cage, there are definitely 2 low digits. We knew that. We've known that all along. But we now know that those 2 low digits cannot be the digits 1 and 2. Because if they were, these 2 columns would have 3 1s and 2s here and 2 here. That's 5 1s and 2s, and there are only 4 1s and 2s. There's 2 1s and 2 2s in these 2 columns combined. So that doesn't work. So there must be a 3 up here to take the slack, and then there's going to be 1 of 1 and 2 in the other position. And that completes the complement of 1s and 2s in these squares. Right, this is getting interesting, because I've now proved that between these 2x2s, all of the 1s and 2s in column 6 and 7 have appeared. There are no 1s and 2s in here. But this green cage has 1s and 2s in it, and they are now over here. And only one of them can be in this column, so only one of them is here. Oh, this is getting so confusing. But there must be one over here. I don't really know how to pencil mark this. This is really tricky, because okay, how do we do this? There's definitely a 1 or a 2 in there. There's definitely a 1 or a 2 in here, because there are no 1s and 2s in here. I've now deduced. And there's no 1s and 2s in here. I don't quite see how to do it. I don't think it's not clear to me how I do this. What to say? How do I do this? I know. Oh, I don't know. I think B or C is 3. How do I know which one? If C was low, that would be low. B would be 3. There would be a 3 here. C would be a 1 or a 2. I don't know. I'm going to take that pencil mark out as well. Sorry, it's the same as this one. When I labelled that as B and I'm labelling this as C, I'm thinking that this is C, but it might not be. C can be in any of those positions. I think it might be something to do with these 2 digits, because now we've worked out none of these are 1 and 2. We know this digit has to appear in the green cage, and therefore that digit is in one of those 2 squares. Oh, wait a sec. That's it. I've done it. That's it. That's it. Oh, Qodec, you are a clever man. Goodness me. Right. So what I'm going to do now is just going to label this with... I don't know whether this is A, B or C, but something I do know is really cool. It's really cool. I now know B is 3, and for this reason, I worked out there were no 1s and 2s in that area of green. So there is a 1 and a 2 in this area of green. Now that one, whatever it is, can't go in that row. So it must be in one of those two. I don't know which one it is, but look, it forms a pair with this one. So there's a floating 1-2 pair between where this digit goes in box 6 and that digit, whatever it is, and that has to be a 3. So C is not 3, and now B is 3. So now, what does that mean? I don't know. But it means these aren't 3. These aren't 3. B, okay, there is a 3 in here now. That's true. This is getting so complicated. There is a 3 in here. There is no 3 in there. So there's no 3 in there, but we know that this cage has a 3 in it, and it's now over this side, and it's B. So I get I get a 3 in the middle box. 3, 3, and the 3 up there. Plonks a 3 in the middle. So now there's a 3 in one of these two squares. Good grief. This is astonishing, isn't it? So now what do we do? Have we broken the back of this now? This digit and this digit are the same. Because if the black labeled digit is here, this digit and this digit must be the sort of the other partners. Let's make those grey for a moment. So grey lives in this congregation here. But I don't know if that means that. Still don't think I know. I don't know what's going on with. I want A and C somehow to now be distributed, don't I? So I know C is in here because C is in one of these squares. Can't even remember how I worked that out. Oh, it's because A was down here as the repeater. Yeah, that does make sense. Oh, this is very, very complicated. Okay. So all I have to do now, I know one of these is a 1 or a 2. One of these is a 4, 5, or a 6. So this digit is not a 6 now, because that would break the bank for this total. Look, it would be 6 plus 3 plus another digit. It would add up to more than 9. So that's 4 or 5. Oh, I'm sorry. This is. Feeling this is obvious to everybody else. It's definitely not obvious to me. Hang on. Didn't we work out there was a 3 in here? Haven't I just worked that out? I have. So it's not a 1 and a 2 here. This is a 3-9 pair. That's quite interesting. So I'm going to actually tidy all of that pencil marking up. It's not really done anything, has it? No, it really hasn't. You rotten thing. You rotten thing. Okay. So have we somehow learned anything? We've learned that. I don't know. We've learned there's no 4 repeat in here. We've got 1 or 2 repeating. Is there some... I don't know. I don't know. I'm so confused. I am so confused now. Okay. Okay, all right. Let's try something totally different then. Let's try something totally different. I used some quite interesting logic earlier, which was bonkers, regarding 7s and 8s in this column. Can I reverse that logic then? What I'm wondering about is that the higher of these 2 digits, which is 5 or 6, now... No, that doesn't work, because it can go down there. It doesn't work. I was going to try and back it into it. So what I was going to try and do is to say, okay, I could put this digit, whichever one is the high 5 or 6, I could put it once in that cage, no times here. But it has, so it is either there or there. And either way, well, hang on, haven't I got a big difficulty oh, yes. Yeah, hang on, there's something much more profound, isn't there? Oh, no, maybe there isn't. 4, 5, 6 is already too many. Yes, what about these 2 squares? This is interesting. Okay, because this is going to be very important if this is right, but I'm not sure it is. Does this have to be a 1-2 pair by mathematics? I think it might do, because if there wasn't a 1-2 pair here, one of these, then there would be a floating 4, 5, 6 triple among either those 3 or those 3. Now 4, 5 and 6 add up to 15, and the other 3 digits would definitely take us, they couldn't all be 1s, could they? Well, even if they were all 1s, we'd still get to 18, and that's too many. So there's no way I can have a 4, 5 or a 6 in any of these squares. These have to be a 1-2 pair, and they are A and C, which we already knew. There's definitely different ways of doing this. I think I'm being totally inept. Right, but right, I'm going to go back to my other logic now then. So I am going to ask, where does the higher one of these now go in these columns? Because it can't go here anymore. So I think it has to go up here. Can't go here. It can go once there, no times there, and it needs to appear twice in 2 columns. So it's there, and it is 5 or 6, so it's not 4. And it's not 6, because if it was 6, 6 and 3 is already 9, and 9 and 9 is 18, and the other digit, which is a 1 or a 2, could not exist. So it's a 5. One of these is a 5, and if 5 goes here, and it partners up with 3 and 1, which must now be C, and we're away. That's it. There we go. Wow. Doesn't reveal that. Oh no, but the fact there's a 5 in there does. That's a 4. That's a 6 in the corner. This is not 4. We must need a 4 on these arrows. Surely this can't be 5, 6. Even if it was double 1, 2, 3, that's 7 plus that's too many. There is a 4 on the arrows, it goes there. I think we'd worked that out before. So this is 4, 6, so this is 4, 6. So these don't include 6. Oh, don't tell me whatever that is. Well, no. Hang on. 1 has now come out of here, so the repeated digit is 2, and that takes away the degree of freedom. Because now the minimum these can be is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a repeated 2, which is 17. So this is an 8, 9 pair. This is 5, 7. This is 8. This has to be 5, otherwise the thing will break. these have to be 6 and 7. And I know the order. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, no, that's okay, because that was just a pencil mark to remind me that 7, 8, and 9 were in those triples. I've got these 1, 2, 3 floating nonsenses. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for these squares, and 8, 9, and something else which is 5 here. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. There's a repeated 2. Right. Okay, the bottom arrow here can't be the 8 arrow. But because there's a repeated 2 in this 2 by 2, there is a 2 on this arrow, and there's a 2 on this arrow. Well, if the bottom arrow was an 8, it would have a 2 in one of those two squares, and the other square to make it up would have to be another 2. So that has to be 9. This has to be a 2, 3 pair, and we can see the order. And that does work. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. My goodness me, Qodec, what on earth have you constructed here? This is a 1, 5 pair, so that's a 2, that's a 5. We knew one of these digits had to be a 1 or a 2. It's now this one. You can't repeat that in the cage, so that's 1, that's 2, that's 2, that's 1, by dint of some sort of nonsensy logic that we've worked out there. Now what? This is a 7. Sudoku. That's a 5. 7 is in one of those two squares. Oh, well, hang on. No, it's here. Otherwise, this will break. If this was 8, 2, I don't know how long that's been available. I've only just seen it. So this is now an 8, 9 pair at the top of the grid. Can we do some sort of Sudoku? No, we can't. Oh dear. All right. So we must do something else then. What could that thing be? These aren't. Oh, this is all resolved over here. Look, this is all resolved. 5, 8. Let's tidy up all the pencil marking and think again. So 3 has to appear in the green cage. Where does it go? There is the answer. It's the only place it can go. This is 4, 6, 7 to complete this column. Let's put the options in and see if we can do better. That's not 7. These squares are the digits that are below 8 and below that are not these squares. So these are 4, 6, 7, and 8, and they are not 7, and these are not 8. And those squares are going to be one of them has to be a 5. We haven't had 2 5s yet. That's quite it. Is it? No, maybe it's not. I need a 5 in this column. It's got to go there. There's got to be a 9 here apparently. And the other digits are going to be 4s and 6s, aren't they? I don't think I've had enough 4s and 6s in this column. In all of those squares I've just outlined, there's 1 4 and there's 1 6. So there must be a second 4 and a second 6. So this is 4, 6, 9, 5, with the 5 on this side and the 9 on this side. So these are 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6, 7, I see. And this is 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, that hasn't done it, I don't think. That digit, though, that is in this cage. Where is that digit in this cage? Well, it's not in its own box. It's in its own row, so it's there. And that places a 5, by the looks of things, into this square, which means there's a 5 in one of these 3 squares. And for our next trick, we will argue that. What about this column? 6, 7s and 8s to place. Let's put that in. 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8. Can we do any better? Maybe not. Okay. Okay. So what do you think I've missed here? Oh, I tell you what I'm going to do. Oh no, look, that isn't maxed out. That's an 8 cage, even though it's less than or equal to 9. I suppose that was a 4 and it would turned out to be a 3. That was 10. What's this then? I don't know. How on earth are we going to do this? Oh, I'm so sorry if this is obvious. That's not an 8, because there's an 8-9 pair up here. Yes, so this is an 8. Oh, sorry, that's been available for ages. So 8. We could possibly put an 8 on an arrow, couldn't we? Oh, 3. That's interesting. In this top box up here, where's 1, 2, and 3? And they're all on the arrows. So one of these arrows contains only 2 low digits. So one of these circles is quite a small number. Maxed out at a 5. That feels interesting. Oh, come on, Simon. I mean, imagine if I got all this way and then I couldn't finish it. I think I would cry. Let's think. What could it be? What could it be now? It could be. Is it going to be some sort of nonsense? It's not that digit, is it? That digit is a bit Sudoku restricted, you know. It can't be 1, 2, 3, or... Yeah, that is restricted. It's 4 or 9. Well, that's it. There you go. It's this digit, believe it or not. That cannot be 4, because this would be a 1, 3 pair, but I can't put 3 on the arrows, so that's a 9. Now, what does that mean? Well, that's what we thought earlier. That's what we thought earlier, because now, look at this box. Where's 9 in it? It can't go on an arrow. It can't be in its own row, and it's not in the silly cage. So there's a 9 here now, which means this is a 9 by Sudoku. This is a 4, 6 pair. So hang on, there's loads going on again now. That's an absolute relief. 2 is not in those squares because of this 2. And 5, okay, look, 5 is in one of these cells. Oh, okay. Right, I know where 5 is, I think. Yeah, where's 5 in this box? 5 is on an arrow. It seems to be in these 2 squares by Sudoku. Now, if 5 was on the 9 arrow, this would be a 4, but this would be a 1, 2 pair, because remember, in this quadruple there is a 1 and a 2, and that can't be a 3 because it can't be by Sudoku. So the 5 is not there, the 5 is here. So that's 5 and that's 8. 5 is going to sit in one of these squares. I bet it's in the circle, but betting is not the same as logic, so I'm not putting it in. This square is at least now 6. It's 6 or 7, isn't it? By Sudoku, it can't be 8 or 9. So that square is a 1 or a 2. And now we could argue, we very nearly get the 8 in this box, you know. Because that 8 is going out of there. That might be able to be an 8 if that's a 1 and that's a 7. Possibly. But 8 is either, it's in one of 2 positions. 4, 6. Oh, no, look at row 5. Where's 1 and 8? Where do 1 and 8 go? And the answer is, well, they're in that domino. So this is a 1 or an 8. So this is also a 1 or an 8, because we're in a world where these add up to 9. So this must be a 2, and that must be a 7. So this is not 7, so that is 7. These are not 7. This is one of the most intricate puzzles I've ever solved. It is really, it is very, very clever and incredibly intricate. 2, 4, 5 up here. Yeah, that looks right as well. That can't be 2. Can't make that arrow add up to 2. Can we? Oh, we could make it add up to 4 this time, because it could be 1, 3. Okay, let's go back here then. So we've got 1, 8, 1, 8 here. So this is not 8. Oh, we know where the 8 is then, don't we? Yeah, we do. I thought we did that earlier. This row needs 4 and 6 into this square. So this is 3, 4, and 6. And we might have to colour. Who knows? There could be all sorts of stuff going on. Oh, no, I know how to do this. 7 is in the quadruple here, along with 1, 2, and 3. So if these are 1, 2, 3, and 7, 1, 2, 3, and 7 add up to 13. So these add up to 13 in the circles. So this is 8 or 9. It's not 9, so it's 8. So that's 8. That's 5. That means this has got to be a 2, 3 pair. This has got to be a 1, 7 pair. And the orders are known. 1, 7, 2, 3, 7, 9, 9. 4 or 6 again, I think, in this row. So I get a 4, 6 pair. This becomes a 3. Oh, how are these 4, 6s getting resolved? That is a bit worrying. Right, that's 1, that's 5. That's a 4 by Sudoku. That's a 2. Oh, this, please, please, please resolve. Don't be unkind. This is a 7. I'm worried about these 4, 6s. No, dear, dear, dear. Okay, well, these are from. Oh, this is a 6 in the corner. That's a 5. Oh, that's it. That's it, I think. Let's just pause and take stock. But I think in this column, that digit is 4 or 6, and it seems to have to be 6. And that might just go through the grid. Look at this. 4, 6. Can't repeat a digit in a cage. Yeah. This is it. What a puzzle that is. How long was that? An hour and a half. Wow. I am not unhappy with that. I was stuck for such a long time in many, many cases. There's some absolutely, I'd almost say, unique logic in that. This stuff around these cages was wonderful. It was absolutely beautiful. When I had the thought about this digit being here, and then how do sort of high digits work in these cages and having to be locked into these positions, and then 7, 8, and 9 in this column. That was absolutely, is it right? It must be right. It is right. Not many people. Oh, wow. I had no clue. This is an old puzzle. We've had it recommended really recently, like lots, just in the last few days. I'm sorry, Qodec. I didn't know that. I thought this was a new puzzle, but it's obviously been around for a while. Well, I mean, I wish I'd known about it sooner. I mean, that is spectacularly good. One of the greatest puzzles you will ever see in your life. And it's very hard, I think, nowadays to come up with truly original Sudoku logic without, in a world where you're not inventing a new constraint. Yeah, if you invent a new type of line, of course, the logic will be new. But this is basically killer Sudoku with a very minor twist. It's brilliant. It's just quite brilliant. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.